with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
50 years have passed since the Black Sun purchased the right to govern the world, and things are starting to appear as normal as they can be. The Black Sun is now being called the Black Sun Corporation. The other major corporations are still unhappy with the power the Black Sun Corporation holds, and the Z-drug is now out on the market. Humans can detach themselves from their spirituality, enabling them to tune out sightings of supernatural beings and go about their business each day in peace. The corporations have enlarged and dissected the large metropolitan areas around the globe into zones to be ran, taxed, and policed by one corporation dubbed corporate zones. Though the peace between the corporations has lasted, the Black Sun Corporation has returned to extreme dominance. With the development of black steel and the bad blood between them starting to return, something bigger than the first supernatural war is brewing. Everyone can feel it, but not everyone will be ready. Will you be?
Sound familiar to you? It didn't to me neither, but this is the story of Angelblood Publishing presenting the tabletop RPG we all want, and we're lucky enough to have the creator and mastermind behind that with us tonight, Aaron Ross. Is that correct, Aaron? Is that how you fit in line?
Yes, sir. That is me. I'm happy to be here with the audience of Gamer Leaf. I'm getting geeky. I'm excited, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you joining us tonight on Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf. That's great. So let's see here. Let's go back a little bit before this. Have you always been into role-playing games, or how did you get into those?
Just like every other fanboy, I grew up. I'm an '80s kid, and I grew up playing video games. Like Nintendo was my first hook into the gaming world, and Legend of Zelda, Link, and then as the systems got better, like I just found myself, always finding myself enjoying the RPGs a lot more, exploring the open worlds, doing the side quests and things like that, not necessarily following, a linear storyline, but wanting to, pretty much telling my own story as I'm telling the main story throughout gameplay, and that's pretty much how I got my start. And then from there, this has happened, 15 years ago. It was a brainchild of mine and another friend of mine, and started, piecing things together. And 15 years later, here we are.
Well, there you go. So did you take, I know at least myself, and it seems like a bunch of others have taken a hiatus from role-playing. Did you do something similar or not?
From the tabletop scene, like as a child, I had heard about Dungeons and Dragons, but I didn't play very much as a child. When I was approached to start working on this project, so long ago, it was actually my first time doing a tabletop RPG, paper and pencil RPG, and I fell in love with it. Just I didn't necessarily fall in love with the game, but I fell in love with the idea of, having this world and just this imaginary immersion, where I didn't have a TV telling me what it is that I was looking at. I can envision what it is that I was seeing and what it is that I was playing. And I love that idea. So then I dove head first, started finding as many games as I could and playing as many games as I could. Majority of which were, Dungeons and Dragons, Dungeons and Dragons 2.5, Pathfinder. I have a lot of experience with playing those systems. And any chance I get to play any type of tabletop, I play it. Just to, get feedback from players, and get the science behind it, what it is that everybody really likes, and then at the same time trying to come up with an idea for Angelblood to fill in the holes and fill in the things that we as all fanboys and geeks want in a tabletop RPG. So I'm trying to answer all those questions and fill all those holes with this.
Cool beans. So, what exactly is the name of your RPG? Is it Angelblood? I see Angelblood Publishing, but is it called Angelblood, or what's the name of the RPG?
The name of the RPG is called Angelblood, and the name of the publishing company is called Angelblood Publishing, and there's a reason for that. The goal of this particular Kickstarter is to get the game launched and get the actual game book, in the hands of our players. And in the hands of the community worldwide. But we want to, eventually what we want to do is start flooding the market with the stories that are being told within this world, within this giant sandbox. Consider it the game world and all the details and everything that are inside this core book and the lore and the backstory and everything. It's one big giant living campaign. And players have the opportunity to not just play and tell stories within and using the game mechanics, but they can do things in their sessions and in their games and submit those session notes to us, and then we can publish a graphic novel for them. We can publish a fantasy novel. We can publish a series of graphic novels, whatever it is that they want to do, and we can make that happen. And with the publishing of their story, they retain creative rights. They get they get rewarded, from the sales of those graphic novels, and everything that they did in their storyline becomes canon in the actual world of Angelblood, leading up to Armageddon, which is, the big hoo-ha that everybody is supposed to be getting prepared for.
Interesting, cool. So I like the idea. That sounds cool. So everybody will have a chance to have the thing. So, yeah, that's really cool. What inspired you to come up with this idea?
Well, I've been writing, I've been doing creative writing since I was a child. So, writing stories, poetry, and things like that. So I've always wanted to write. And then, like I said, I was exposed to video games in the fantasy world a lot as a child. And I wanted to, and I don't care what anybody says, the cartoons from like the 80s and the 90s were best, man. Like I was lucky in that regard. Like we just grew up in a cool time period that had some really cool and inventive cartoons and ideas, and that just had my mind going. Like I had a really hyperactive imagination as a child, so I wanted a game where I can incorporate everything from my childhood and bring it all into one. So if I wanted to play as a Thundercat, I could play as a Thundercat. If I wanted to play as a Z Fighter, I could play as a Z Fighter. If I wanted to play as a military guy like G.I. Joe, I could do that. And I didn't want to worry about, I didn't want to have to worry about a system to where, your character is super OP'd or super overpowered and is going to break the system. That's not the point of it. Or in other words, that is the point. You want to create a character that is super powered. You want to create a character that is overwhelmingly powerful so they can survive Armageddon. There is literally no limitation on, the characters and the players and what powers they want. They have full customizability on that, and I fell in love with that idea and executing that on the mechanic end, and in talking to seasoned players and even players that have never played a tabletop RPG, it seemed like something that they were interested in too, just that full customizability as opposed to, the classic systems where if you're a rogue, you do roguish things really well, and if you're a fighter, you do fighter things really well. I wanted players to be able to create characters that were self-sufficient and independent.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on the cartoons because I grew up at the same time period. Do you have a favorite? Would you be able to single one specific cartoon out as a favorite?
Oh, man. If there was one cartoon that I grew up with as a child that I could not live without, it would be Thundercats. Straight up.
Cool. Yeah. I want to say the picture of the red tiger on your Kickstarter page, it reminds me of a mix of like Thundercats as well as a He-Man's cat.
Yeah, Battle Cat, Battle Cat was I love Battle Cat. I wasn't much of a He-Man guy, but the moment I saw Battlecat, I was like, oh, that's awesome. Okay. He has a pet. He has a tiger that he rides around, and I love the dichotomy between, like, you know, when he's just regular Prince Adam, like his tiger is like a wuss, but the moment he's with the He-Man, like he's Battlecat. You know, like I thought that was cool.
Cool. Yeah, I love the Thundercats as well. So, who was your Thundercat? Do you have a favorite of them?
Tigra.
Tiger. Cool. Cool. I don't remember all their names, but I really like the mechanic as well as who else was it? The tiger's the lady tiger, isn't she? And she had a brother maybe or something. There was a male tiger.
Tigra was like Tigra was kind of like second in command. He was the one that had the whip and he can go invisible. Panthro was like the mechanic.
Okay, yeah, Tigra and Panther. Okay, yeah, I remember them. I think I like those two as well as who was it? Oh, I like the evil villains, the dumb the two bad guys or whatnot. I forget much about them, and then also the cat, the snarly cat or whatever.
Mhm. Snarf. Snarf.
Yeah, Snarf. There you go. Yeah.
Yep. I love that show, man. I love that show.
Yes, sir. I wish they would. Yeah, I wish they would do cartoons like they are now, like they did back then. Now everything's just recreating everything else, or just copying everything else. It seems like.
And they tried to do a reboot on it, but it was horrible.
I can only imagine.
You know, they're trying to reboot. They're trying to reboot so many of those classics, man. It's better to just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. If it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, if anything, just re-air it. Just put it back on the TV if that's what you want to do.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I know they're trying to do a reboot of DuckTales. I don't know. That scares me.
If they're rebooting DuckTales, you can best believe they're trying to reboot like Rescue Rangers and who else? What was the other one? Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, Darkwing Duck, and then they had Baloo. What is it? Baloo, where he's flying in an airplane. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, there you go.
That's what it was. Tailspin. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, so many good cartoons, man. There's so many good cartoons when we were kids.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened to them, but I guess they lost their creativity. So yeah, let's see here. So going back to the whole Angelblood. So what can you tell us about the world and the book and what's going on with Kickstarter besides people being able to make their own fiction off of what they play?
All right, so. You know, like I said, I've been working on this for 15 years, and you know that's a long time to be working on just a tabletop RPG. I don't want to give too many details away because we are quite a ways away from reaching our overall goal. What I will say is that I have 3 movies written for this storyline. Okay, the world of Angelblood, the game of Angelblood, takes place between movies 2 and 3. Okay, and if my vision comes to fruition and I'm able to make this work the way that I want it to, players will have the ability, or may have the ability rather, to see their character come to fruition onto the big screen. So you take your character concept, you take your character idea from paper and pencil, and then you have that character with all of the abilities that you came up with. You'll be able to see him or her in Armageddon on a big screen. Like I think that's just that vision as a fanboy. Like if I could submit a character idea to Marvel and then they guarantee me, like, you know, if it picks up or anything, like I'm gonna see it on the big screen, like I would be stoked. So having that potentiality there is something that I think players are really excited about. And when I talk to the beta testers here in Houston, they're all really jazzed up and really excited about that potentiality. As far as the game world, it takes place in the year 2157, and so it's in the near future, but not too far out. There's a heavy bit of technology, you know, so there's cyborgs and all kind of other things going on, some super high-techy stuff. Supernatural characters or supernatural creatures have came back to Earth. So there are demons, werewolves, vampires, angels all over the place. You know, our population right now is pretty thick on the planet. So just quadruple it, and that's the number of individuals that are on planet Earth at the particular time in the game. So there's a lot of people that are just on the planet, which means that there's a lot of people that need to go, you know? So when you create a character, everybody has a set of enemies and a set of allies upon creation. We don't have, you're not rolling for attributes or anything like that. Every archetype that we have has has their attributes already set from the very beginning. But as you play through the game, you have the ability to customize those attributes and how you level up throughout your gameplay. So, if you start off one way and, you want to focus on being like a speedy character, you focus on building your quickness. If you want to focus on, spirituality and you want to use a lot of superpowers, you focus on building your spirit. If you just want to be a brute, you focus on building your strength, so on and so forth. And then there are the customizability aspect of it comes from what we call the gifts from God. You get custom gifts from God throughout gameplay, either from leveling up certain attributes or just leveling up your character in general. And when you get those custom gifts from God, that's when you're able to give yourself pretty much any ability you want or augment the abilities that you currently have to make them even more powerful.
Cool. And you said something about every character creates their two foes or their bad guys. Is that right?
Yeah. So every archetype and every character that is made already comes with a set of allies and a set of enemies. So let's say you want to play like a paladin type character, a holy hunter. Okay. In the world of Angelblood, that's what we refer to them as holy hunters. Mm-hmm. You have an ally automatically in the OTC. That's the Order of the Church. So they have your back. You can rely on them. You can ask them for equipment. You can, if you need research done, you can lean onto the church for that. But conversely, you have an enemy, which is called the Faithless. That's an organization for those with a negative faith. That's where your anti-paladins would be, or in Angelblood case, unholy hunters. So like I say, you're on this quest to do this for the church. Well, the Faithless doesn't like you. So their agents are going to be out to try and stop you from whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. And that's just one example. There are so many factions in this world, and they all tie in together in a nice, interwoven, overarching story in some way or another. And we have those lists available in the how to play book. So before players play, they can actually take an opportunity and read up on that and understand who depending on what faction that they belong to when their character is created, who they can consider a friend and who they can consider a foe before starting out.
So this is it looks like a great idea. So and dealing with combat and whatnot, I know different RPGs have different system sets of rules and whatnot. What is there a certain rule set you use, or did you make your own, or?
Yeah, we have a custom system regarding the rolling of the dice. We have a progressive dice system regarding skills. So we have it going from untrained all the way to godlike. And the idea is to roll a 14 or under. Okay, so if you're doing a skill and you're starting out at untrained, you roll a d20 and a d10 together. And then the total of those two numbers has to equal a 14 or lower in order for you to succeed. If you're at godlike level, you're no longer rolling dice. You literally could just call your shot. You just say what you want to do and it's going to happen. You track your successes as you progress through gameplay so you can level up, and as you level up, you increase your dice, which increases the probability of it succeeding whenever you're rolling that. In combat, I know a lot of games, the majority of games have a initiative system or a turn-based system. Angelblood does not have that. Angelblood does not have an initiative or a turn-based system. Combat in Angelblood is just like combat would be in real life. It is completely chaotic. So if you're sitting there and you got, 3 friends with you at the table and there's a big baddie that you guys are going up against. You guys are waiting for somebody to make a move. The big baddie's going to hit you in the face. He's going to hit the next guy in the face, and he's just going to keep going. And I like the essence of the chaos, because what it does, it forces the players to know their character inside and out. Because when you have a turn-based system, you have an opportunity to look at the character sheet and think about what's the next thing that you want to do. Whereas in Angelblood, there is no turns, so you just go. And if you don't know your character inside and out, there are abilities and there are things that you have that you might forget and that you might not know. So it's again, it's one of those systems that rewards the players for being proactive and being prepared for literally anything.
Cool, that's pretty cool. So let's see here, and word on the street is you have a giveaway. I don't know if it launched yet, but a giveaway with the giveawaygeek.com. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we have a giveaway that has launched. I think it launched earlier this evening, actually, with Giveaway Geek. So anybody that goes to, they go to our Kickstarter, they copy the link, post the link, and share the link on their Twitter account or on their Facebook account. They can go to our Facebook page and post a comment with the hashtag Giveaway Geek Army Go, and then they qualify for the giveaway. And what we're giving away is a future author package that is on our Kickstarter. What that includes is a copy of the How to Play guide. You get a player personal character book, and you also get a custom character sketch in color of your character. So whatever character it is that you want to be, we'll go ahead and get him drawn up. We'll get that sketch sent over to you. You get your character book and you get the game book, so you're ready to rock. And you'll have all the tools necessary to start telling your story.
Cool. And if somebody wanted that specific if they wanted to have that portion of the thing and they didn't win, how would they go about doing that? What pledge amount is that?
That pledge amount is at $125.
Okay, cool. And you're giving one of those away, is that correct?
Yes, we're giving one of those away at the end of the Kickstarter, which is scheduled for, I think the giveaway is scheduled to stop on the 30th, but the Kickstarter ends on November 9th. So the winner will be announced at the end of the Kickstarter.
And so, but the giveaway goes through the 30th of October, and then you're announcing it when the Kickstarter is over. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
So 15 years, that seems like an awfully long time in development. I imagine you've been doing other things on the side too, or not, or just strictly this?
I'm not a rich kid or anything like that. I don't have a silver spoon in my mouth. I go to work and pay bills just like anybody else does. So the 15 years, it's been more or less like a labor of love, where I've just had to nick away at it over time until I got to the point where I could start showing it to public and beta testing. So that's the reason why it's taken so long, and I wanted to make sure I got the game done before I started moving towards the area of like producing the graphic novels and writing out the script and everything for the movies, because without the game world and without the community, this world does not grow and it does not work. Angelblood Publishing belongs to its community. I may be the creator and I may be the founder of it, but this does not work if the community does not get involved. This is something that, I've always wanted to do. And in allowing other players and other people like me who have ideas and who have, crazy superheroes or crazy characters in their head and a storyline in their head, who may not have the ability to, piece everything together or tell a story with enough conflict in it or whatever to keep it interesting. This is a system for that. It is a game system that allows everyone to be able to create that character that they have in their head and tell that story that they came up with when they were 12 years old, that Marvel or DC didn't listen to because you've never published anything, or you didn't go to comic school, or whatever the case is. I wanted to come up with a system where essentially the voiceless fanboy now has a voice, and he can contribute something to a larger part than himself.
Cool beans. And it looks like this isn't your first rodeo. It looks like you had a previous Kickstarter a couple years back. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did. We launched the very first one 3 years ago. That was when I first got to Houston. And it was just to raise a little bit of money so I can get my business license and everything going, and just, put the initial word out there about what it is that we were doing. It was successful, barely successful for our little $500 goal. But it was something that I wanted to test out, and getting that experience and running that particular Kickstarter got me prepared to run this one. So I knew what it is that I wanted, I knew what it is that I was looking for, and I wasn't going to initiate it until I got that. So, the tools that I have and the network that I've built of illustrators and artists and, videographers and things like that, and graphic designers, like, I am completely, humbled and grateful for what we've managed to put together for this particular Kickstarter. I'm very proud of it. And at the same time, it gives people an opportunity to see the growth that we've made within the last 3 years. Whether this particular Kickstarter is successful or not, I am not going to stop. This is my life. This is something that I love to do. And I want other people to be a part of it and help it grow with me. But if they don't, that's totally fine. I'll just load the world up with my characters, and it'd be totally fine with that,
I hope it does fun. That sounds like an awesome idea going on and whatnot. And there's all kinds of characters you're going to be in. It's based off of just your creativity from the 80s and 90s cartoons. That is so awesome. You don't hear about people talking about those much anymore. Well, I guess some people do, but who knows? But I hate it with them rebooting everything. Now, well, I say this every time, but I imagine somewhere someone is falling asleep because they get tired of hearing my voice on the podcast. It wouldn't be because of your game or what you got going on. But so let's say somebody just barely woke up because they suddenly are about to run into that tree or whatnot, and they get to catch the rest of the podcast. Why should be one reason they take a chance on Angelblood RPG?
If you've ever had a character or a story that no one ever listened to, or you didn't think you would ever have the opportunity to tell that story or create that character and play them and get that story out there, this is the game for you. This is the company that you want to partner with. We will help you bring that story to life. And it's not like you're going to create it and then we're going to take your creation. You're going to be able to retain those creative rights. You're going to be able to get compensated for playing a game. When is the last time anybody's been able to do that? I want people to play my game so that they can create stories so that I can sell them and pay them. This is something that it's a lot bigger than just playing a game. If you're into it and you're creative and you have something that you need to get out to the world, but you're not sure how to do it, this is it.
Cool bean. So I know with Kickstarters they typically say they'll deliver by such and such time. I know you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but if somebody backs this for per se the book or whatnot, when should they anticipate getting it?
The Kickstarter is scheduled to end on November 9th. Everybody will have their books or whatever rewards that they're supposed to have. They will have them by the end of November. That is a guarantee. The only thing that will prohibit or prolong the delivery process will be the amount of orders that we have to fulfill, at which point deliveries may go into the month of December, but no later than that. By the new year, you guys will have your books, you will have your rewards. I guarantee you that. We've done the test prints. We have people that have received their books already. I know exactly how long it takes for my printer to get the books to me, and I can ship them out to you guys. So, December at the latest, but we are pushing for it by the end of November to get everybody their books.
Cool. So if you don't mind me asking, are you doing it through Drive-Thru RPG, or do you have an actual printer?
We're going through a third party for printing, and the main reason why is because we want to be able to print on demand. I don't have thousands of copies of these books just lying around. If I were hooked up with a distributor or something like that, it'll be a different story. But because we're printing on demand, I have to wait and see how many orders I get before I can place the order, which is the reason why, I went out and sought out the illustrator for the cover, Patrick Turner. I wanted to make sure that the cover that we used was, beautiful artwork and something that would be worthy of a limited edition print. So understand that when you purchase one of these books, or when you back Angelblood and you get one of these books, you will not see these books in the stores ever. Like, you will be the only ones with them.
Okay, cool. Cool beans. So you're not going to put them in the stores after. Is there reasoning behind that?
Well, the reasoning behind that is it's to incentivize people to, back us at this juncture, back us at this point in time. I want to make sure that they are getting something, for the additional cost that they're typically paying for a core rule book. Like, I understand that there are core rule books out there that you can purchase for $40, $45, $50 maybe. So considering the extra cost that's involved with these particular prints, it'd be a different story, if anybody can get it anywhere at any point in time. But the fact that these are going to be collector's items, the fact that these are limited edition prints, I think that adds a little bit more incentive to, get one of these books right now, because you won't have the opportunity to get them anywhere else.
Do you have anybody that's reviewed them? Like, is there going to be any reviews or other podcasts that you'll be on?
I have had a couple of podcasts reach out. The names of those don't ring a bell to me right now. I have partnered with a couple of crowdfunding marketers that are assisting me, and they're going to be reaching out to bloggers and media and things like that. I have not yet gotten any results from that. It's only been about 24 hours, so we will see. If anything else, go to our Facebook page. We are extremely active on Facebook during this Kickstarter campaign, and we'll be extremely active during the campaign with the updates. So, if anything else, if you're not sure about us and if you're following up and you want to see what it is that we're doing, follow us on the Kickstarter. Check on the updates and see the things that we're doing. I'll be posting on there regularly.
Cool beans. So, and we'll make sure we leave all this in the show notes and whatnot. But per se, somebody doesn't, I don't know, maybe their fingers don't work and then they're able to click the show notes. How would they go? Well, I guess that wouldn't really make sense. But per se, they're not able to go back to the show notes. How would they find your Facebook page?
You go to facebook.com/Angelblood RPG.
Okay, that's easy enough. And like I said, we'll make sure we put all that in the show notes and whatnot. Now on to our next portion of the show. What we do next on the Getting Geeky with Gamer Relief, Aaron, it's called Adventures in Application Acquisition, where we talk about an application. It doesn't even have to be related to role-playing or gaming for that matter. It's something you use on your either cell phone or tablet or even a video game like you talked about, or computer. Is there an application that you use a lot of?
Actually, the one application that I use on a regular basis is Acorns. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but I love Acorns. Acorns.
No, what can you tell us about it?
Acorns. So I don't know about anybody else, but I am horrible at saving money, like absolutely horrible. So I use Acorns and I linked it up to my checking account. So, like, whenever those like keep the change programs that the bank has done?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, instead of using the keep the change program for the bank, because all they do is to take the change and then they put it into your savings account, Acorns, they round you up to like the next $5 increment or $10 increment. You can set that up however you want to, but they take those roundups and then they put it into an investment account for you. And then you can also set it up to where it auto drafts money out every week or every month, or however much you want, and it just throws those little nuggets, those $1 here, $3 here, $5 a month or whatever. It just throws it in an investment account, and you can create a portfolio. So it's almost like a personal 401k for yourself that you never see, or you can see it because I use the app all the time, but it's for those of us that have jobs where they don't necessarily have a 401k, or it's really hard for you to save any money or anything like that. It's a great app for that. So I recommend Acorns to anybody.
Do you know if it's on Apple and Android?
I believe it's on Apple. I believe it's on iOS and on Android. Yes.
Cool. And was there a cost to it?
Like I said, the only cost is whatever you want to go ahead and start your account with. I started my account with like $20 and close to a year ago. And you know, like I said, I very rarely go in there and take any money out or anything like that. But you know, if you find yourself where you're hard up for a little bit of cash and you need $100 or $200 to float you until your next payday, you can go into your Acorns account and pull the money out, and there's no penalties for it or anything like that. So, like it's a really cool program, man.
Cool. Yeah, we might have to check that out. So it's called Acorns.
Yep.
Cool. Just like it sounds, I imagine. So if you own the rights to Acorns, Aaron, the app, what would be one thing you would do to make it better?
If I owned the rights to Acorns, what would I do to make it better? I would do matching. I would incentivize people to put more money into their account by matching up to a certain percentage. So, you know, if you put in $100 a month, like I'll match you 15%. So if you put in $100 a month, I'll put in $15 for you.
Cool. Well, you heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. If anybody from Acorns is ever listening to this, you heard it here first, what Aaron would do to make it better. And, so we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, Aaron. We really appreciate that.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the invite. Good luck to everything for you guys as well. And I'll be spreading the word about this interview and about the show. Definitely.
Cool. Appreciate it. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that interview we had with Aaron. That was great talking to him, especially I enjoyed talking about 80s and 90s cartoons. Do you have a favorite 80s and 90s cartoon? Go ahead and send us an email or comment on one of our links and let us know what it was and why you liked it. We would love to hear that. Or you can send us an email at gamerelief@gamereliefgo.com. And we're going to go ahead and we finally got the prizes for the 9 games that we got from Imperial Outpost, and we'll be sending those out relatively shortly. There was a couple people that got back to us, so the other couple people, I'll be reaching out to you and letting you know that you won. I'll probably do that in another episode, and then I'll get those sent out as soon as possible. So sorry for any inconveniences. Hopefully you don't hate us for it. If you do, give us an email. If you don't, give us an email. We'd love to hear from you at gamerelief@gamereliefgo.com, or just contact us on Facebook. Now on to our next portion of the show, which you've come to know and love, hopefully, is Kickstarter Corner. We have we have quite a few great games going on. We have Rooster Rush. This is a great game from Seth Hyatt and those people over at Mayday Games. Some great designers got on this, the people who made Seven Wonders and some other games. And you're trying to get your rooster to cross the street without getting hit by a car or a granny on a moped. That is an awesome idea. It's only $15 for the Kickstarter exclusive or $10 for the base game. They've already funded, so you'll be able to get your game. Go ahead and back them, or go check out the giveawaygeek.com for a giveaway of it. And then we got Frontier the card game. That's an awesome one. Like I said, both me and Logan Chops, who has a channel there on the YouTube, will be reviewing it shortly. And then we have Scrooge, the board game. That should be about done when you hear this, but it has funded. And so check that out. Can you out Scrooge? Well, can you? And then we got Arcade Fighter. Bring your favorite arcade fighting games like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter to the tabletop. And then Swords and Cells. This is a great one in which, let's see, I can tell you about it because now I have a clickable link. How amazing is that? The internet and the computers have come a long way since we were kids back in the 80s, believe it or not. Well, Swords and Cells, rewrite history in 1000 AD. Swords and Cells is an epic conquest and diplomacy game about leading your armies and fleets through medieval Europe in 1000 AD. They're like a third of the way from their goal. They have 12 days to go. So about 10 days to go at the time of this recording. Go ahead and back them on the Kickstarters, and free shipping to both the US and the UK. And they have friendly shipping to other places as well. So check them out on the Kickstarters. And then back to our list. We also have the Cold Cash War, which is a Savage World and Cepheus system for role-playing that is based on Robert Asprin's The Cold Cash War, a novel back in the 70s or 80s. And then we have, Ancient Artifacts already funded and has closed down shop, but I don't know if they'll be doing anything. But check it out. It was a great campaign. We didn't know if it was going to fund, but it did. And I'm very grateful that Derek was able to fund. That was awesome. Then we've got Cheese Quest. This is a great one on the Kickstarters right now. And you're trying to get 2 cheese to your, well, let's tell you about it. Because like I said, I have clickable links now. That's so crazy. Let's see here. Cheese Quest, a tabletop game of tactics and sabotage. Be crafty, strategic, and fast. You'll split your time between progress and sabotage as you race to return 2 cheeses to the nest. But watch out for those traps and those cats. They will get you if you're not careful. So yeah, go back them on the Kickstarters. I can actually even tell you how they're doing. They're at $7,134 out of $12,000 goal. Check them out. Phil's doing a great job there, and I know he was going to have be on some other podcasts or whatnot. I want to say one's coming up here in October shortly, a live one from somebody. You'd have to look back at my old podcast when I had him, and he can tell you all about it. It is done by the Unfiltered Gamer, does do a review or something about it. Yeah, he does a review of this. Check out the Kickstarter pages, or you can go to the YouTubes and you can check out Unfiltered Gamer. He's a great guy. He does a lot of great things for the community. So check him out there, and that is great fun. And then we also have Dawn of the Archmage, and this is Solar Flare's game, and he's doing a good job. So hopefully he'll be able to back. If not, stay tuned. That's all I can say, really. Stay tuned. And then we've got also, just to let you know, Solar Flare Games recently picked up the IP for Robotech Force of Arms, which is actually, get this, an anime from the 1985s. How perfect is that? It fits in. We talked about 80s cartoons. This is one you want to definitely check out. Well, I know I need to, so I can't really recommend it per se. But I'll go ahead and watch some of them and let you know what I think. But you can catch this on the Netflix. And then we just went over the RPG. We just had an interview with the guy in charge of Angelblood RPG. And then, like I said before, get this, hold your horses. We have Mark McKinnon of Wreck and Ruin fame is coming out with none other than Wreck and Ruin, launching the 3rd of October. Now, I don't got a clickable link of this. Well, I should have one, shouldn't I? Well, I don't, on my notes at least. So, definitely, I'm going to go check it out right now. So, you go ahead, and what you do, if you're confused about the computer, you go ahead and you type Wreck and Ruin into your, your browser bar, and what will come up? Nothing, well, a bunch of other stuff comes up. But the one we want to go to is Wreck and Ruin. He's actually got a website, wreckandruingame.co.uk. So I would click that, and let's see. It looks like a pretty good place to go. And I think you can join the fight. Yeah, join the fight, and it takes you to the fight. I thought it would have gone to the Kickstarter. Well, it's launching. Yeah, you can get an email and get on the fight. Well, I know he sent me a link. I'll go ahead and leave that in the show notes. Don't tell your friends. But yeah, definitely you want to go ahead and check this out because it has some great miniatures. They are cars. Well, there's a motorcycle, something like a slug bus. Well, a slug bug. I wish you would have put a slug bus, but a slug bug with a tank going on. Then you got a battering ram with a metal skull on the front. And then you have like a tanker truck. So yeah, definitely check them out on the Kickstarter, launching the 3rd of October. And you can be a warrior in the Wreck and Ruin world. Now, I want to try my movie voice out, but I don't know that I have a movie voice. Do you have a movie voice? Well, let's go ahead and see how my movie voice plays out, because Richard over at the We're Not Wizards website, no, We're Not Wizards podcast, really outdid me on it. And I'm having a little bit too much fun. Well, for Wreck and Ruin. Don't tell anybody, it's still me. This is the name given to the barren and inhospitable wasteland beyond ruins' walls, and is littered with the corpses of many a wastelander who was ill prepared to face the world in all its savagery. The world is bleak, and there are few signs of civilization. Most of mankind's achievements have been buried under the sands of time, and any still visible are shadows of their former selves. Some roads are still visible and make traveling a bit easier, but they rarely stay clear with the constant threat of shifting sands to cover them. On foot a person would not survive long, so vehicles are used primarily as transport and shelter. This has led to factions appearing, nomadic groups who are constantly moving in the battle to survive. Everything in this world will try to kill you, be it the inhospitable terrain, the dangerous weather conditions, or the manly wild beasts which have adapted to the wasteland living and are always seeking out their next meal. And let us not forget, of course, the other factions who perhaps have a jealous eye on your vehicles and supplies, or purely because they enjoy the thrill of the hunt. The city now known as Ruin began only a mere few decades ago, an insignificant amount of time compared to its age, built before the world changed, originally made as an army bunker during the days of the old world. Well, I have somewhat a movie voice, but there's way too much on there for me to read. You want to check it out? Go ahead, be my guest. Go to wreckandruingame.co.uk and check it out. This is the Wreck and Ruin, launching on the Kickstarter on 3rd October. Do not be left in the dark, because you want cool vehicle minis which can catch a blaze and have actual markers you can put in the top of them, and when they burn all the way, they don't just stop, they wreck and ruin everything in their courses. So yeah, you are now a wasteland warrior. I think that's what Mark McKinnon of Wreck and Ruin fame calls us, and let's make him, he says it's only like 2 or 3 people, maybe 4 or 5 now that I call him that. Only call him Mark McKinnon of Wreck and Ruin fame. Let's change that for him. Everybody listening to this podcast, jump over to Mark McKinnon of Wreck and Ruin fame's Facebook page, or just check out Wreck and Ruin, the Kickstarter, and let him know that we sent you, so he can become Mark McKinnon of not only 4 or 5 Wreck and Ruin fames, but of everyone in the whole wide world. This goes out to you, Mark McKinnon. You are our Wreck and Ruin fame. You are of our Wreck and Ruin fame on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Now, let's get geeky, or stay geeky, or whatever you want to do with your geekiness. Just come back next time. It's been great. And have a great week. We'll talk to you later on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. I'm Game Relief, and it's been fun.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.